So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Ve salatu ve selamu ala eşrefi halk seyyidul enam Muhammedur Resulullah sallallahu teala aleyhi ve sellem. Euzu billahi mineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhaneke la ilme lena illa ma allamtena inneke entel alimul hakim. Subhaneke la fehme lena illa ma fehemtena inneke entel cevadul kerim. Rabbi şrah li sadri ve yesir li emri ve hlul ukdeten min lisani yefkahu kavli ve ufevvidu emri ilallah innallâhe basirun bin ibad. The seventh word. If you want to understand what valuable, difficulty-resolving talismans are the two parts of the phrase, I believe in Allah and the last day. Because if you look at the Quran, it's interesting that normally when we list the 6 essential articles of Iman, you would start with, Amentu billahi, as you know, Amentu billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi. So I believe in Allah, I believe in the angels, I believe in the books, the prophets, it goes like that, 6 essential articles. But there are a lot of verses in the Quran which says, they believe in Allah and on the last day. Ahiret comes straight after it. So there must be a very important significance there. And he says that these two phrases, or two parts of that phrase, which solve both enigmatical riddles of creation, because creation is enigmatic. It is a riddle, it is a mystery. And open the door of happiness for both human soul and what beneficial and curative medicines are reliance on your Creator and taking refuge in Him, through patience and entreaty and supplication, your provider through thanks. And what important, precious, shining tickets for the journey to eternity, and provisions for the hereafter, and the lights, nur of the grave, and are listening to the Quran, obeying its commandments, performing the 5 daily prescribed prayers, and giving up serious major sins, then listen and pay attention to this allegory again, analogy again. As I said, first 9 words are with analogies. He always provides an analogy and then goes into reality. One time, a soldier fell into a most grave situation. In the field of the battle, an examination, and the round of profit and loss. And this story is as follows. The soldier was wounded with deep and terrible wounds on his right and on his left sides. And behind him was standing a huge lion, a powerful lion, as though waiting to attack him. Before him, in front of him, stood gallows, like prison, or hanging place, which was putting to death and annihilation, all those he loved. So he's in a very difficult situation, this soldier. He's been wounded on the right and the left. There's a lion waiting for him on his back. And in front of him, the hanging rope is there, execution thing. Yes. So it was waiting for him to. Besides this, he had a very long journey before him. He was being exiled. He was being sent to somewhere else. As the unfortunate soldier pondered over his fearsome plight in despair, a kindly person shining with light like Khidr appeared. Khidr. Does everyone know who is Khidr? Maybe we do that. It's in Maktubat, it's in another book. Khidr is a person mentioned in the Quran, not by name, but it's a person who traveled with Musa alayhi salam, Moses, and there are other things about Khidr alayhi salam. We don't know if he was a prophet or not, but he was this unique person. Very mysterious person. Yes, he was a time traveler as well, because he appeared in different periods of time. And according to Bediüzzaman Said Nursi, he is still alive, and some people could still interact with him. Khidr alayhi salam. It's a very different person. So a person like him appeared to this soldier, and he said to him, "Do not despair. I shall give you 2 talismans and teach you about them. And if you use these 2 talismans properly, the lion will become a docile horse for you, obedient horse for you. It will turn into a horse, the lion that waiting behind you. And the gallows will turn into a swing." You know, you have swings in playgrounds. So the hanging rope will turn into a swing if you follow these. "For your pleasure and enjoyment. Also, I will also give you 2 medicines. If you follow the instructions, those suppurating wounds, or those wounds that make you suffer, will be transformed into 2 sweet-scented flowers." Your wounds will transform into sweet-scented flowers, beautifully smelling flowers, called the rose of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. "Also, I shall give you, Also, I shall give you a ticket with all of these things. You will be able to make a year's journey in a day as if you were flying." So you got 1 year of journey, it will shorten down to 1 day. Very interesting story, isn't it? "If you do not believe me, you should experiment a bit, try it, so that you can see that what I'm telling you is true." The soldier did experiment a bit and affirmed that whatever that person told him was true. "Yes, that is unfortunate Said." Now he's talking about himself, the scholar who wrote this, Said Nursi. He goes, "Yes, this unfortunate Said, I affirm it too. For I experimented and I saw it was absolutely true as well." So he's confirming it himself as well. Sometime later, he saw a sly, debauched-looking man, shifty, scary man, cunning like the devil, coming from the left. With him, much ornamented finery. He decorates everything. Shaitan decorates everything, makes things look nice to you. From the left, decorated pictures and fantasies and many intoxicants. He stopped before the soldier and he said to him, "Hey, come on here, my friend. Let's go and drink and make merry, have some fun. We can look at these beautiful pictures of girls. Listen to some music, crazy music, and eat all this food." So the other man is saying this now to the soldier. Then he asked him, "What is that you're reciting in your mouth?" And the soldier said, "A talisman." And then the man said, "Stop. Those are incomprehensible nonsense. You shouldn't be doing those things. Let's not spoil our present fun. You should be having fun, enjoying yourself." And then he asked the second question, "What is that in your other hand, in your hand, sorry?" "Some medicine," the soldier replied. And then the man said, "Throw that away. You are healthy. There is nothing wrong with you. Why do you need a medicine? It is the time to cheer, be merry, be happy. You're here once in this world, you know how they say. I repeat that, but people like that. Sean is laughing again. You know, some people say you're not here for a long time, you're here for a good time. You're right. So this shaitan is tricking you, playing with your mind. You know, you're only here once. Might as well make the most of it. But I remember some years ago, we were at this, a sohbet like this, and it was the one Hoja, Abdullah Masud, and he said to people, you know, if you might remember this, I mentioned this one. He said, if, for example, Azrail alayhi salam appeared to you and said to you, angel of death, and said to you, look, I wouldn't do this for anybody, but I'm going to do you a favor. All right? I'll tell you when I'm going to take your life. It's tomorrow, all right? Let us say at noon. He gives you one day before. He lets you know. We don't get that. Nobody gets that. It can happen anytime. It can happen 10 minutes later to any of us. But one day before, he goes, I never do this, but I'll do it as a favor. And then he asked everyone in the room, he said, what would you do until tomorrow at that time comes? You know, everyone is saying, I would hit the thing, sajjada, prayer mat. I would keep on praying, asking for forgiveness. Nobody said, I'll be in the discotheque, nightclub. Nobody said, of course, that's not going to save you. They know it. Your time has come. The only thing that can save you is your Lord, isn't it? But now, at this situation, while we sit here, do we have that guarantee that we will be alive tomorrow? None of us have that guarantee. But look how comfortable we are. Because we have this feeling in us, Bediüzzaman says that, tevehhümü ebediyye. It is assumption of eternity. In our hearts, we think we will exist for a long time. Long time. I will never die. Everyone else will die. I'll be the last one. Remember I said that once. I guarantee you, it's not just the people here. You ask any person in the world, especially if they are a little bit younger, middle-aged young, they will say, who do you think will die last in the entire world? They will say me. Probably I'll go last.
I'll say Japanese people.
They live the longest. They have the record. They live the longest, but you don't know that. Nobody looks at statistic when it comes to death. People will think that I'll be around for a long time. We're all like that.
Isn't that comes because our soul is eternal and that gives us...
Yes, that is where it originates from. Because eternity exists. That is why we want eternity. If it didn't exist, we would not even have the need for it. That is why one of the students of Bediüzzaman, Mehmet Kırkıncı Hoca, Allah rahmet eylesin, he passed away too. When I read one of his books, it was amazing. I really liked that saying. And I always use it in the university classes too. People love it, It is one of the proofs for evidence for life after death, eternity. And he says, if God did not want to give, he would not have given the feeling of want. Why do you have that feeling? Other animals don't have it. They don't know about life after that. They don't know about eternity. Only we have that feeling. We have that yearning for eternity. See, since we have that feeling of want, so he's going to give it as well, because he gave that feeling to us. It's all logical when you think about it. Because if you look at anything else in your body, whatever organ you have and whatever necessity it has, it's been given. You got eyes, God created light. You got ears, God created sound. You got tongue, God created taste. Some animals can only differentiate about 4 or 5 different tastes. Humans, 10,000 different things we can taste, our tongue. We are designed uniquely. So if we give him these tools, then automatically we say, well, then there must be something corresponding it. Yeah, it's the truth. And it is. It comes out to be true. It is philosophically, you can prove it. So if we have that feeling of eternity, like we said before, then there is eternity. That is why we have that feeling.
It's just not here.
Not here. We're looking at it in the wrong place. We're looking at it, looking for it in the wrong place. People are looking for it in the wrong place. And they're trying everything, you know. I heard of people, billionaires, you know, they got cancer. Some doctors told them you got 3 months or something. They go and get themselves frozen. They put themselves in frozen. And they say, I think Walt Disney did it too.
Yeah.
And they say, you know, when the cure is found, you can try to revive me if you can, if it works. Because there is no technology to make it work yet. Yeah. They're saying maybe in the future they can, because he's going to die anyway. So they are trying to cling on to this life because they think this life is eternal. It is not. It is not. No matter what you do, you're going to die. Everything dies. Every animal dies. Every non-living thing dies too. It's not just animals. Everything in the universe dies. The stars die.
Even black holes.
Everything. Right?
Black holes.
Eventually they evaporate.
Yeah.
Even including black holes. The longest existing objects in the universe are white dwarfs. It's a type of star. Mm. After a huge star collapses onto itself, it becomes a white, not normal size like our sun. It will become a white dwarf eventually. Bigger stars, they become neutron stars, pulsars, and black holes. Mm. But a star about our sun's size, when it collapses onto itself, which will happen eventually, it will become a white dwarf. And they say white dwarfs can exist for 1 trillion years, maybe more. But eventually they die too. Everything dies. Nothing exists forever in this universe. We are nothing within the universe. We are very insignificant. So, yes, we want to exist forever. So, he said, what is that in your hand? The soldier said, a ticket for rations for the big journey. And that man, the evil man, satanic man, he said, tear it up, throw it away. You don't need it. What need do you have of a journey, this beautiful spring? It's a beautiful journey. Why do you need all these things? He tried to persuade him with every sort of wile, and the poor soldier was even a little bit persuaded. Yes, man can be deceived. Any of us, it can happen. May Allah protect us. I was deceived by just such cunning deceptions. Suddenly, from the right, the other voice came like thunder. He said, beware. Do not be deceived. Say to that trickster, if you have the means to kill the lion behind me, remove the gallows before me, repulse the things which are wounding my right and left, and prevent the journey in front of me, then come on, do so. Show that you can, and let us see it. He's saying to the shaitan now, evil. Just say, ask them this. So if anybody tells you, let's have fun, the life is all about, you know, enjoyment, drinking, doing all the wrong things, you ask them, can you kill death? Can you close the door of the grave? Can you make sure that I'm not going to be held accountable? Can you provide all these things? Can you make me stop aging? Can you make me from, you know, avoiding illness, sickness, all of these things? No. Can you stop time? No. Maybe in the future we might for a while when we travel close to the speed of light or something. But you will still die because, thermodynamics, the second law of thermodynamics, everything moves from order to chaos. It's been proven. So you're not going to get away with it. So if you can't do this, then don't try to trick me with these sort of things. If you're able to do it, all right, I'll come and join you. Why should I be an always perfectly good person? If there is no life after death, there is no accountability. I'll make the most of this life too. I would be the same. You wouldn't think about anything else. Yeah. So it's all deceit. Deceit. Then say to him, come on, let's go and enjoy ourselves. Otherwise, be silent. If we can do all these things, okay, let's go and enjoy ourselves. Speak in the same way as that Khidr-like, that God-inspired man speaks. Now, oh my soul. Now, Bediüzzaman Said Nursi is going into reality from the story. As I mentioned before, when he, explains these things, he frequently say, all my nafs, all my soul. He's saying, I am teaching all this to myself. If anybody else wants to listen to it with me, you are welcome to. O my soul, which laughed during its youth and now weeps at its laughter. During when you're young, you laugh. You're happy. You don't think about all these little details because death for you is too far away. But when you get age, you start getting old. You pass 70, 80. He says, now it weeps at its laughter. It cries at its laughter. And as I said before, no person will be proud of the harams they committed when they were young. Go and talk to any old man or woman. None of them will say, oh, I'm proud I did all those bad haram things. They will all say, I wish, I was a better person. Everyone will say that.
Unless they are pure evil. There are very small.
Yeah, I'm talking about general human beings, Even some of the non-believers, because they know death is coming. They'll try to be good people because, yes, there are, honest, good-mannered people amongst the non-believers too, amongst atheists too. There are people like that too, because it's a natural thing. It's part of your fitra. You can have a good ahlak, but you cannot have a good adab. Ahlak and adab are two things, different things. One is to do with your character. You are born with it. The other one is moral conduct. You learn that. You learn that through religious teachings. As I said, an atheist can be a very morally good person, but they might not have good adab because they don't know the adab rules. They don't know the rules of adab. It's a different thing. So, yes, it laughs. It used to laugh. Now it's crying to its own laughters. Because he says, Bediüzzaman says in somewhere in other risales, he says that, the end of pain is pleasure. The end of pleasure is pain. So if you're having pleasure, when it stops, it finishes, pain starts. Even going and remembering, I used to do these fun things, even that'll give you pain because you can't do them anymore as you get old, Your two folds, you can't do the things that you used to do when you were young. So even that will give you pain. I remember a person many years ago in Turkey, in Izmir, where I used to stay. There was this man. Actually, my father used to work for him many years ago. He owned factories. He was a very wealthy man. The guy couldn't eat bananas and similar things because he had illnesses towards it. I think highly diabetic or something. You know, he couldn't even eat kuru fasulye. You know, kuru fasulye? Beans. He couldn't eat beans because of his illness. Millionaire, billionaire. And my father said one day we were at the factory. We sat down with the workers, like 3-4 of us. We had the kuru fasulye, you know, the baked beans. We had some onions next to it. We crushed the onion with the bread. He was passing by. He said, I would give half of my wealth just to eat from that plate, he said. Half of my wealth. Think about it. You could be a billionaire, but you can't even eat a simple beans. So, yes, sometimes we got to be careful for what we ask for as well. What you wish for, they say. Yeah. It might not be good for us. So, oh, my soul, which laughed at its youth, now it weeps at its laughter. Know that the unfortunate soldier in the story is you, a human being. So it's going on to reality now. The lion behind the soldier is the appointed hour of death. That's the lion waiting, you know. Remember the example that I once gave? Let us say this is you. I'll show it here. You guys can't see it. This is you, all right? This is all the things you want in life. And all your life, you are chasing after it like this. You know, house, car, rank, whatever you. Everyone has dreams in their life. All of us have those things, you know, desires. And we are chasing after it like this. And it's going like that. Some of them we get along the way. But there's something else here. As we're chasing that, this one coming after it. This is death. It will catch you before you get all these. It will always catch you. You might get some of them, but because your desires never end, never end. I get this, I will want this. I get this, I will want this. Your desires never end in this life. And the other one is coming from your back, like the lion. It will get you before you get your desires. No one in the world says, I have everything, that's it, I don't want anything anymore. No one will say. If that was the case, people like Bill Gates, you know, Elon Musk, why would they be working 12 hours, 14 hours a day? Like billionaires. Why are they doing this? Why are they keeping themselves busy? That's what it is, really, keeping themselves busy. So the lion is the appointed hour. As for the gallows, it is death itself, its decline and separation, through which in the alternation of night and day, all friends will bid farewell and all are lost. One of the wounds that the soldier had, it's our wounds, all of us, we have them. One is man's infinite and troublesome impotence. So one wound we have is our infinite and troublesome impotence. What does that mean? We are weak. We are weak creatures. It's a reality. As I mentioned just before, even the richest, wealthiest billionaires, people who run huge countries, very powerful people, one bacteria goes into their body, bye-bye. Tiny. You cannot even see it with the naked eye. That's how weak we are. So impotent, we are impotent, weak. That's a reality. While the other wound is his grievous and boundless poverty. Poverty. Fakir. Doesn't matter if you're rich, you're still in poverty. Because just as I gave the example before, you cannot even eat a baked beans. That you're in poverty. Certain things he can't do, even if he's had all the money in the world. He cannot do them. So we are poor as well. And our wealth can go like this too. Remember what happened in, during that era when the Wall Street and everything collapsed, people were jumping from the offices in New York. Millions of dollars lost. They were jumping. Yeah. Finish. But if you don't give importance to money, if you're content, that won't happen to you because you don't care. You remember I talked about Imam Abu Hanifa once, the great scholar that we follow in fiqh, He was a wealthy man, Imam Abu Hanifa. They say that one day, and some of his wealth used to be carried with ships, like gold and things like that. One day somebody came to him and they say, "Oh, great Imam, the ship that was carrying your wealth sank, lost in the sea, sank." There was not even a small mimic on his face. He said, "Alhamdulillah, thank Allah," And then a few days later, they said, "It wasn't your ship. It was some other ship." There was no happiness. Again, he said, "Alhamdulillah." It is not yours anyway. It is given to us temporarily, and it will be removed from us when the time comes. Nobody is going to take their wealth to the grave. Nobody does. No one ever has. There was people like, the famous Qarun during the time of Musa alayhi salam, Moses. The guy's treasures, sorry, not treasures, the keys to his treasures, was carried by 70 camels. Just the keys. That's how they say he was the richest man that ever lived. Qarun, we don't know. But he would not give anything to charity, for good deeds, for religion, nothing. What happened after he died? They say that they buried him, the earth threw out his body 3 times, chucked his body out. Even the earth wouldn't accept him. And when he died, what happened? All the wealth back left behind. He didn't take it with him. I always say that when we are born, whether you are born in hospitals, mostly to these days, we're all born in hospitals. You're just a little thing, not even a thing, few kilos, yeah? 3 kilos or something. They just wrap you up in this little white sheet. When you die, the same thing, bigger sheet. You don't take anything with you. And then they send you. It's the reality. You might remember the great Sultan Süleyman, magnificent Süleyman, Kanuni. He was the Ottoman Sultan. It was the most powerful era of the Ottomans. They have conquered everywhere almost. He said, when I die, to his soldiers, he said, when I die, to his men, when you put me in the coffin carrying me, he said, leave my right hand out of the coffin like this. They said, why, sire? He said, so that everyone can see Süleyman is going to the other side empty-handed. Empty-handed. You don't take anything. Anything. This is the reality. So the exile and the journey is the long journey of examination, which is testing in this world. That was the journey in the example that which soldier had to make, which passes, it's a very long journey, through the world of spirits when we were first created. We call it Majlis al-Alast. The Quran says, when Allah created the soul, He asked, am I not your Lord? The Quran says, Qalu Bala. They all confirmed. They said, yes, you are our Lord. They testified. So there was a covenant made there. And Allah sent us here to see if we stay in our word. To see if we stay in our word. So it's a long journey that starts in the world of spirits through the wombs of our mothers, through childhood to old age, through the world in the grave, barzakh, the intermediate realm before Qiyamah and Hashir, to the resurrection, where we will all be resurrected, over the bridge of Sirat. It's a long journey, isn't it? We are probably in the shortest part of our journey. We think it's the longest part, this world. It's probably the shortest part. We're just beginning our journey as human beings. So as for those two talismans he gave to the soldier for protection, they are belief in Almighty Allah and belief in life after death. They are the two talismans. Yes, through the second sacred talisman, death takes on the form of a mastered horse, a steed to take believing human beings from the prison of this world. This world is like a prison, to the gardens of paradise and the presence of the most merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you don't get scared from death anymore, because it turns into a vehicle, a horse or a ride, which will take you to paradise. Because you are looking with the eyes of Iman, belief. Everything changes. It becomes like a vehicle to you. Otherwise, it will always be scary. And if you don't believe in the hereafter, other problems occurs too. When someone dear to you dies, it could be your family member, your brother, your sister, your mother, whoever, you can't handle it. You can't handle it. Why did it happen to me? You go crazy, you have psychological issues. Many people are like that. They all happen. But with us, we know where they went. We have no issue. We know one day we're going to join them and we will all be together again. See how faith makes you feel good in the heart, psychologically as well. I'm almost there, 3 minutes. Matthew, it's about 3 minutes, Chief. So it is because of this that the wise who have seen death's reality have loved it. Wise people, people of hikmah, people of wisdom, have seen the reality and they are not scared of death. They love it. Like Mevlana Celaleddin Rumi. You know, he called his own death my wedding night. Shebi Arus. You need the guts to say that, you know. Shebi Arus, because I am uniting with my love, my Lord. He considered it as like that. You know, Bediüzzaman Said Nursi, because he went through, I don't know if it's a good word to use, but hell. They made them suffer a lot. Because all scholars, they try to make them suffer. You know, people don't like things like that when you tell the truth and things like that. And at one stage I think it's in the RİSALE-İ NUR, he says, if I found even the tiniest permission somewhere in the Quran or the Hadith, I would have taken on my own life. Because I don't love anything about this world. I don't like anything about this one. But it's not permissible to take it. It's like murder. If you kill yourself, it's like murder. Just as if you have killed someone else. You have committed murder, because this body doesn't belong to you. It belongs to Allah. Isn't that interesting, the way they are thinking? They have wanted it before it came. So he mentions it, death. And through the talisman of belief in Allah, the passage of time, which is decline and separation, death and disease, and the gallows takes on the form of means to observe and contemplate with perfect pleasure the miracles of all glorious makers, various mouths and miracles. So everything changes with the glasses. When you put the glasses of Iman, faith, you see everything differently. That is why somewhere he says a true believer, when he stands somewhere, if the entire earth explodes, the entire earth, instead of being scared, he will say, Subhanallah, what a power of Allah. That's faith. See how strong it is. Jazakallah khair. It's 9 o'clock. I don't want to keep you, push your patience. So inshallah, we'll stop there. Thank you everyone online for joining as well. تقبل منا بحرمة الفاتحة.